we are on this beautiful island of Divar and surrounded by river Mandovi on all the sides. The second largest island of Goa, as you see. So this tour is curated by Make It Happen. We are an experiential travel company based in Goa. Divar Island was an isolated island, and the earliest name of Divar, okay, is Dev Bhoomi, Deepavati. These are the old names of Divar Island.
So would you say that these were the sacred groves of the villagers at at some point?
So this was supposed to be a pilgrimage site. There were schools and colleges. Basically, schools and colleges means the temples which were here. They were kind of educational institution for the students who were coming from different parts of Goa and South India. They would actually come here to do their studies in Sanskrit literature and Vedic sciences. Okay. Yeah, and in fact there is a legend which says that when the Kadamba queen, Kadamba is one of the very famous dynasties, one of the most prosperous dynasties ruling over Goa. And why am I saying this is because that was the first kingdom to issue gold coins in Goa. And the Kadamba queen Kamla Devi, she visited this island and she was enchanted by the beauty of this island. And it is said she passed out this rule saying that those who are staying on this island have to light diyas, diya to this entire island. That's how this island gets its name as Deepavati, means the village of lights. However, the earlier names Dev Bhoomi, Devuvadi tell you a lot about this being a pilgrimage site. However, nobody was allowed to stay here. You come here, you do your studies, you do your pujas, and then you move back to the mainland. You were not allowed to stay here. And now I'll tell you the story how people started coming and staying on this island. And now to begin with, let me tell you, in the mid 18th century, the city of Old Goa was hit by plague. And due to plague, half of the population of Old Goa simply died. There was no place at that time to bury all the people in the cemeteries. There was chaos, and the trade also had stopped in Old Goa because of the plague, and the economy was falling down because of that. And people wanted the Portuguese government to come up with a solution. And the solution which they came up with was leave Old Goa and move elsewhere. People could not do that because they did not have money to do that. So they asked the government to come up with a different solution, and the solution was the Portuguese government destroyed all the houses in Old Goa, forcing people to leave Old Goa and move elsewhere. When the houses were destroyed, people had no shelter. Many people went to the neighbouring villages, and that's how people also came to Divar Island and they started staying over here. It was just across the river. Okay, and the settlement on Divar Island is also around 250 to 200-year-old settlement. Okay, so the houses are also in a very Indo-Portuguese, constructed in a typically Indo-Portuguese style of architecture. So, however, people of this island are very connected and they want to protect this island at any cost. So much so that they took the trouble to use the ferry, and they refused to have a bridge connecting it to the mainland, because they said if we have a bridge, then our island is going to get commercialized. Absolutely. So they refuse to have a bridge. They wait here for the ferries. We also cross the ferry to come over here. Absolutely. Yeah, and another thing which they had to sacrifice was, which you cannot even, people from the cities today cannot even think of, is the mobile network tower. So there is not even a single mobile network tower on this island. And this is because the neighbouring island has got Dr. Salim Ali Bird Sanctuary. If this island gets a network tower, then the number of birds coming to the bird sanctuary will get affected. So why I chose this place as the introduction point is because we have a very old stone structure which is right behind us, which you cannot actually see because of the greenery which is grown over here. So that structure is known as Davarne. Davarne in a local language, Kokni, means to keep something. So back in the days, people had to walk all the way from the ferry point to the villages on the other side. So while they were walking and when they were tired, they would keep their patla, that is the basket, on top of the davarne, and they would go inside the davarne and they would take a nap. That is very much like our Goan culture. If you're tired, you're supposed to take rest.
Yes. Absolutely, I completely follow that edict.
And if the davarne was full, then of course you have this heritage mango tree to give a shelter.
So how old is this mango tree?
This is more than 200-year old. In fact, the movies which are shot on this island have actually featured this mango tree, and the recent one I would say is Deepika Padukone, Nawazuddin Siddiqui, Dimple Kapadia's movie.
Oh yes, yeah.
Finding Fanny.
Finding Fanny. Oh
Yes.
yes. Okay.
It would be ideal if they would name it as Finding Fanny, not Fanny.
Totally.
But they have featured this tree in that movie. So right now we are standing in front of this banyan tree, which is a very symbolic tree in Indian culture, Indian mythology, and of course a Hindu religion. So while we are standing here, I'll tell you a bit about this tree and how it is associated with the culture of this island. So, and not just this island but also Goa, Maharashtra, and in the Konkan belt we worship this tree, that is the banyan tree. So we have this festival called Vada Punav. In Maharashtra you call it as Vata Purnima, wherein the married women go around this tree and they tie a thread, like they go around 7 times and they ask for the long lives of their husbands. And the reason being, this tree has a very long life, so they want the life of the tree for their husband. However, this was also a tradition which was started for the protection of these trees. So our festivals are actually associated with the nature and being connected with the nature. And this banyan tree also has a lot of medicinal value. And according to one of the theories, it says that wherever you find a banyan tree, you should also know that very close to that there will be a source of water. So wherever you find a banyan tree, very close to that, even if you dig a well, you will find water over it. That was another significance of banyan tree. It also has a lot of medicinal value associated with it, and that's why it was supposed to be protected. But nowadays what happens is people from the villages have moved to the cities, and the festival which was meant for the protection of the tree is today causing the death of these trees. So people cut the branches and they take them to the cities, and they actually tie the thread to the branches of the banyan tree. So before the Vata Purnima, if you go to Panjim market, you find there will be a long queue wherein people will be sitting with the branches of the banyan tree. Right now we are standing in front of this small Maruti temple, and if you actually see, the main idol in the Garbhagriha is made up of the white stone, that is the marble. However, the traditions and the rituals which happen in this temple, because of which there is another statue which is installed here towards this side, towards the end, that is made up of black stone. Now the significance of the black stone is actually a lot in our Indian tradition. So even if you look at the colors, it is said that white reflects and black color attracts, it absorbs. So if you look at any Indian ancient temple, you will always find we have always worshipped or carved the statues only in black stone. First of all, that was available, and secondly, because our Garbhagriha is supposed to be dark. Once you enter into space and ekanki, which we call it, and you have to become one with God. He absorbs everything. So the white stone which you see, which is quite recent, and this is the influence of the European rule, or the westernization of India, which you will see only in this century. Now we are sitting in front of Shri Shakti Vinayak temple, which is dedicated to Lord Ganesha. However, this is a recent site constructed. This temple structure is quite recent. The idol is very, very old, dates back more than 500-year-old, statue. However, the original statue, which was dedicated to Lord Ganesha, was not here, was right on top of the hill.
Okay.
In the 16th century, the Portuguese soldiers, when they came here, the Portuguese actually just didn't come for trade, they also wanted to spread Christianity. So wherever the temples were there, they were destroyed on this island. And one of the temple which was destroyed was Ganesha, temple, which was on top of the hill. However, the Garbhagriha of the temple is used as a chapel of the cemetery today.
Okay.
So that's the unique thing about religious structure remain in religious structure.
Okay.
And quite recently, like, a lot of researches took place on this island. That was the time the church authorities came to know that, like, that was the site of a temple, and they gave the funds for the construction of the temple, and one of the families actually donated this land for the construction of this temple.
Lovely.
So yeah, and they also wrote a letter and they got back the original statue which belongs to this island.
Oh wow.
So this motif you find it in the South Indian temple. So this is known as a Makkar motif. So Makkar is a mythological animal with the body, like, of a lion, very muscular body of a lion. The mouth is of a crocodile, which you can see over here, and the teeth, like, sharp teeth. Mouth of crocodile, and it has got the trunk of an elephant.
Okay.
So mythologically, this is the strongest animal which you find, and this element, of course, you find it in the door of this particular temple, as a symbol that this is a very old temple. So right now we are standing at the sluice gate, and in Konkani language we call it as Manos or Point as well. And this is actually the ancient fishing methods, one of the ancient fishing methods which you actually find in Goa. So the sluice gate is made up of wood, and to be more precise, it's made up of the jackfruit tree wood, because that is one of the strongest wood which you find in Goa. So the fisherman has to keep replacing the wood, like, in once to 3 to 4 years at least, because the crabs which you see around this place, they eat the wood and they make the wood hollow. And it has the flaps on either side and then a pillar. So during the low tide, the water from the Khazan land pushes these flaps, and the gate will open and the water will go on the other side. But during the high tide, till a particular level, the water will go in the Khazan land, and after that, all the flaps will shut automatically without any intervention of humans. So depending on the tide of the water, the fishermen come over here and they tie their nets and they do fishing over here. So in front of us is the Khazan land, and behind us is river Mandovi, which is flowing. And Khazan lands are actually one of the important parts of the island, lifestyle, an ecosystem. River Mandovi as well as in a Khazan land, what unique thing which you find is the crocodiles. So crocodiles are interestingly not originally from Goa, but they were brought to Goa by Adil Shah of Bijapur to actually protect the water bodies so that the enemy should not attack him. However, the Magar species of crocodiles, when they were brought, it took a lot of time for them to get adjusted. In fact, one whole species of this crocodiles were defected and they were getting boils on their neck because they had to get adjusted to the salty waters of Goa. However, today the thing is such that they are considered as protectors of the agricultural as well as the fishing community of Goa. And it is believed that crocodiles do not attack people of Goa. So much so that if you actually go to the neighbouring places, you will see kids are swimming with crocodiles, and crocodiles never ever attack Goans. Right now we are standing at the temple tank of one of the ancient temples which stood over here, that is Sri Saptakoteshwar temple of 12th century, which was constructed here by the Kadamba kingdom of Goa. Now Saptakoteshwar is a form of Lord Shiva, and Saptakoteshwar was also the Kul Devata or family deity of the Kadamba kingdom. One of the most important elements of our Goan lifestyle is music. And on Divar Island, each and every house actually has a musician. And we have one such musician from Divar Island over here, Even Picado, who is specially here to play some music for you guys. Even.
So this song is about a guy who gets married and then goes crazy in love with his wife. So here's the song. आमच्या शेजाऱ्याका सासूचा ताका वजाचा बेसा ताका मोलाचे उल्हासा ताका कोतासा.
This is a 100-year-old house belonging to Agnes Disa Montero. Thank you first for hosting us in your house, in your beautiful house, and opening it to us.
Today I've made fish curry rice, vegetables I made cluster beans, then chicken I've made green chicken, I made chicken shakuti. Mackerels are there, fried mackerels with masala, and prawns, fried prawns. Then I've got what else? I've got salad.